what? Let me ask you a question. Why is it that if somebody is going through something very serious, something that takes a toll on their body and their mind, why is it difficult for them to express themselves to their friends or their loved one, or somebody who they can confide into?
Well, for me, it would be pride, fear,
yeah,
trust issues. Any of the three.
But like for me, say I may not struggle with this to the extreme, but I think a lot of people do, because you said one word a while ago, it's fear of being judged, fear of being judged wrongfully, when really and truly we just have some weakness.
And you know what? I guess the enemy also adds to what you're going through, put things in your mind as well, so you cannot just spin up.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where he wants us to be. Some places in a corner where we don't feel comfortable. But I think social media has a lot to do with it.
For youths?
Yeah, for youths. I think social media has a lot to do with reshaping the mind from a sociological perspective, where we tend to want to be somebody else that we see, and that's not the true reflection of who you are. So you're struggling with your identity, because you have a subconsciously, because of being on social media so many times, you have a perception of what you would hope for your life to become. And sometimes those perceptions is not a bad thing, but you miss the process of what it will take. And sometimes additionally, it's a delusion, because not everything that you see posted on social media is a true reflection of what it is marking itself as of what it is showing itself as. So that's one of the problems a lot of young people face, and then that leads towards depression and self-esteem issues. Yeah. So
what do you think is a way to fix or challenge that issue?
I mean, yeah, there is a way. There's a few ways, but it's tricky, because some people go on social media to escape from what they're dealing with in their life, whereas others go on social media and it affects their life directly. So I could say you could avoid it. You could not go on social media, shut it off, or not even, you don't even have to necessarily shut it off, but like have a certain time, limit it, put certain limits on it. Don't allow it to consistently overwhelm you. Like, you have control over when you want to go on it. You have control about who you follow, because...
Do you think it's a maturity thing? Like how mature you are influence the impact negatively that social media has?
Yeah, I think maturity comes through experience, and not a lot of people have the experience to make those changes. Not a lot of people have the experience to say, no, I'm not going to do this, or so it's waste of time. What do you really want in your life, though? What do you really want? What is it that you are aiming for in your life?
I guess for some people it's like the image of success that social media has for some persons.
That's true. But the image of success isn't success.
It's true. Or like sometimes a couple might post something and the persons might say, oh, couples goals, but they don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. So I guess it's the imagery sometimes that people go for.
Alright, so I was asking, I get what you're saying. I was asking someone the question the other day, right? I was saying, think of each area of your life, categorized area of your life, like your finances, your relationship, or if you're married, your marriage, or if you're a parent, your parenthood, your career, education, your spiritual life, all these areas, right? You can find them in each category that I just listed, and there's even more. You could find them on social media. You know that. You could find a page that strictly speaks about vacation and that life that you want, and you have another page that speaks specifically about the spirituality of life and God and the Bible and edification of your life, spiritual life, and all these things, right? And so on and so forth. But you're one person. So you're one person trying to manage all these areas. Do you think that physically, mentally, and emotionally you will be capable of dealing with all those areas of your life at 100%? No, right?
No.
Yeah, so when somebody comes to you with that, like you ask, what's the solution? Like the person would ask you, what's the solution for being 100%? And the answer is that there's no solution.
That's true.
There is no solution in you. But do you know that, though? Do you know that within you cannot be 100% at your best in every area of your life? You cannot. It's not possible. And this is a philosophy of mine, or should I say a belief of mine, which is very much opinionated. But what do you do? What do you do in a case like that? Like, what do you actually do when you come to that realization? Because honestly, I don't think people know this.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why persons struggle a lot.
Yeah, people struggle a lot because of fear. But fear is the absence of knowledge. Fear is, people fear what they don't know. So this is where God comes in. This is exactly where God comes in. I always pray this prayer. I always go on my knees and I say, God, this is not my life. This is your life. I didn't ask myself to be here. I didn't ask myself to be a part of this family. I didn't ask myself to grow up in this environment, to be attached to this church, to go to this school. It just happens based on it happens outside of my control. So understanding that, I now understand the source that is responsible for each individual areas of my life. And you give it to him. Just give it to him. But then again, that's not easy. It's not easy to give God all of you.
I think it's a trust issue.
Trust?
Even to trust God, I think that's what people struggle with.
Oh yeah, people struggle to trust God.
Because sometimes we might say, okay God, I'm trusting you to do this or fix this, but then you try to do it on your own.
Yeah, I try to do it on my own because you live in the physical realm. You live in the physical realm. You see a phone, you see a cell phone, and you're like, I want that cell phone right now. God is saying he can give it to you, but at the moment you don't need it, right? But because you have the money, you go and purchase it because the flesh needs it. You already have a conditioned mind, so you go and get it. And God is saying, hey, wait. I mean, maybe a cell phone is not a good example, but let's say, for example, a relationship. You see where this person like you or you like this person, but you only know them on the surface level. And you try to get to know them more and all these things, and courtship, dating, and all this kind of stuff. And let's say it now leads to the point where you want to marry the person. And you need to trust God to help you make that decision. But you're not listening to him on the other end because you want what the flesh wants. You know what you want. So the real question is, do I want what I want or do I want what God wants for me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do I want what God wants for me or do I want what I think is best for me? And it's difficult. So yeah, to answer your question, it is very difficult sometimes to trust God.